Hello, everybody. Chris Hamilton here, and thanks for showing up. And in just about 1 minute, I will get started on this presentation. Just bear with me. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties this morning getting this going. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see me. My internet's causing me a little bit of grief. I've got a chat box down below on this page, and unfortunately, I'm trying to access it on another computer so that I can see it, and it's causing me grief. So you may have to just text me if you have any questions. What I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen or my presentation with you here in literally like 2 seconds, and then we'll be ready to get started on this. So just bear with me as we get this going. And you should be seeing my screen here any second. Sorry about this. Just a couple of glitches going on. Technology's wonderful. There we go. You should be seeing everything now. So I'm going to get started in this. It's now a couple of minutes after 9. This should probably roughly last about half an hour here. As I say, I have a chat box down below in the on the page you're watching this from if you're watching it live. Problem is my one computer is giving me grief. I cannot access that. So if you do have any questions, feel free to text them to me at 403-630-1243. And the presentation today is 5 ways to generate business on LinkedIn. And so I'm going to start with why listen to me? Well, I'll tell you what, I walk the walk. So for those of you who don't know who I am, once again, my name is Chris Hamilton. I am one of the owners of bookkeepingautomation.com and also entermyinvoice.com. The other thing is that I also own a sales and marketing company, and I dole out sales and marketing tips on my website, salestipaday.com. But one of the things that I say is I walk the walk when it comes to using LinkedIn. I use it literally every single day, and I'll show you one of the processes I use every day to generate opportunities for me. And I'll even give you an example when we get to this about an accounting firm that I got into based on using LinkedIn, which could generate a huge amount of opportunities for us. So once again, I walk the walk. I'm going to show you a couple of things here. I used to work for a software company. There's about 250 reps, I believe, in the North American marketplace. And they used to look at the activity of these reps and see what the reps were doing. And if you take a look, unfortunately, you can't really see, but just trust in me, that red circle around that activity level is me. And what I did was I was generating 22 times more emails, 10 times more meetings, and 30 times more online demos than every single sales rep on average in the company. And I was doing it in about half the time of the other reps. And most of that is because I was leveraging LinkedIn. So I created I reached out to a lot of people in my marketplace, connected with them on LinkedIn, sent them weekly emails with relevant information that was targeted to their demographic. By the way, when I did that, I used to get people phoning me up and asking me for meetings all the time. And these are people that the company had never or were never successful getting in to see in different companies. So anyways, long story short, I walk the walk, and I've leveraged it. I've used it. I have sold millions of dollars of products and services with the help of LinkedIn, and probably generated hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million plus in revenue or income for myself just by doing this. I don't say that to be glib, but I say it that it's a powerful tool if used correctly. So we're going to go through the 5 ways to generate business on LinkedIn. I'm going to start with tip number 1, which is your profile. So one of the things I talk about when I go into the LinkedIn profiles is that 50% of B2B buyers and 84% of C-level B2B buyers go onto LinkedIn to try to find people that will provide a solution to a problem that they have. Now, half of these people will not even look at your profile if it's incomplete. So I'll give you a few stats that come from LinkedIn and one that comes from salesforce.com. So 76% of B2B buyers prefer to work with recommendations. So people will recommend you. So if you're connected with people on LinkedIn and they know what you do, they will recommend you. That is a great way to generate business. Buyers who use social media spend 84% more per purchase. Social buyers make 61% more purchases. So these are people that are jumping on LinkedIn. Social selling leaders, so people that leverage LinkedIn for selling, have 45% more opportunities in their pipeline. And they also are 51% more likely to hit their quota in their companies. And a couple other ones here. Salespeople who reach out with valuable insights are 5 times more likely to get a response compared to those who reach out cold. And last but not least, 78% of salespeople or business owners who use a social selling process outperform their peers. So long story short, leveraging a tool like LinkedIn to do selling is going to help you out tremendously. I know it works because I've used it before. Okay, so here's some tips as it relates to your profile. So first things first, get a picture, get a professional picture. Do not have a picture of you with your dog or your cat or riding on a boat or whatever. It's a professional network. Get a professional picture. With that, you'll get 11 times more views than the average uncompleted profile. And as I say, no picture, literally right off the bat, people will not look at your profile, 50% less views. The other thing too is I highly recommend getting a premium account. So over on the left-hand side, what you see is that little icon for a premium account. And with that, hold on for a sec here. I got Jeremy texting me. Anyway, sorry if anyone here, sorry, I just got a note from Jeremy Burke, and he was saying ready to go, and we should be broadcasting. So hopefully this is broadcasting. Just give me a second here. There you go. If you can hear me, refresh the page if you're having problems seeing me. Anyways, long story short, we got the 15 times more views if you have a premium account. If you put your education in, you are going to get 10 times more views of your profile. The other thing too is featured skills and endorsement and endorsements. If you go down on your page, you can put in upwards of 50 skills on your profile. And I'll give you an example. Through my company, bookkeepingautomation.com, and also entermyinvoice.com, I often look for people that have QuickBooks, referenced in their account or in their profile. The thing is I will look through your profile and I cannot see QuickBooks. But if I do a control find or a control F or a command F and try to find QuickBooks on the page, oftentimes it will show up in the skills and endorsements. So it's interesting. If you put certain skills in here, you're going to get found online. The other thing too is if you put more than one job in your experience section, typically you're going to get 12 times more views. So long story short, look, a complete profile is going to generate up to 15 times more views than an incomplete profile. And that just puts you miles ahead of everyone else that you're competing against. Now, once you get people to your profile, you have to give them a reason to contact you and how to contact you. So I'll give you a couple examples of what I do. Underneath your profile, what you're going to see is there's a tagline. And if you look here at my profile and over to the right-hand side, there's a little pencil kind of near the top there. When you click on that, that gives you the ability to edit your profile. What I've done is, in most cases, LinkedIn will take your last work experience and put that as your tagline. Fix that, because people really don't care if, I'm a bookkeeper and wherever. What you need to do is kind of give a value statement here, or a unique selling proposition. So what happens is, I say, your SMB sales and marketing go-to person, you can generate up to 10 times more sales leads. Ask me how. So market that I serve, SMB, small and medium businesses. Who I am, a sales and marketing go-to person. What I can do, generate up to 10 times more sales leads, and a call to action. Ask me how. The other thing that I do is I put in the first line in my summary, I put my phone number and my email address so that people don't have to go searching for that stuff. They can find that in my profile. Now, why is that important? Well, first of all, your summary gets pulled into your mobile profile. And what you can see is at the very top of my mobile profile, I've got my phone number, and at least I've got a portion of my email address. If someone clicks on that, they're going to be able to see that whole thing. And why is that important? I'm going to skip ahead a couple of slides. Is that LinkedIn, 55% of LinkedIn's traffic in the Q3 2015, and this is the last bit of information I was able to find on this, came from a mobile device, or a cell phone or a tablet. And that was a growth rate of about 31% from the prior year. If you apply that on a go forward, roughly 70%, kind of this time frame right now, 70 to 75% of people are accessing LinkedIn via a mobile device. And so make sure that your page is optimized. And like I say, one of the things you can do is that first line in your summary, put your phone number and your email address, and that's how people can reach out to you. One of the other tricks that I do is on the desktop, one of the things you can do is you can add a bunch of information about yourself, and you can add up to 3 websites. So I highly recommend put your website in if you have one. I've got my website, I've got my YouTube channel, and the last one I have, when someone clicks on that, it takes them through to a landing page, which allows them to download sales and marketing tips to get them, daily sales and marketing tips to go right to their email box. So that way, if someone's looking at my profile and clicks on that and they like this, I've captured their name and email, and I start marketing to them as well. So as I say, mobile is where everything's going on LinkedIn. Make sure your profile's filled out completely on the desktop, which is kind of the left-hand side here is what you see. And if anyone has any question about how to fill this out, feel free to reach out to me, chris.hamilton@entermyinvoice.com or chris@salestipaday.com, or you can call me 403-630-1243. I'll show you and kind of guide you through this stuff if you really want to find out how to do this. Anyways, long story short, a lot of stuff from your desktop will come over to your mobile device. And I'll tell you what, one of the beefs that I had with LinkedIn about 6 months ago was when they changed their mobile settings on a mobile phone. It was horrific. They didn't have a lot of this information in there. They do now. And I'll tell you, one of the peeves that I have is when someone does not put their phone number in and I'm trying to reach out to them, especially on a mobile device. If I'm trying to get a hold of them, I can't find it. It's tough for me to reach out to them. So give the reason for someone to reach out to you or get your mobile phone number in there. So here's some tips before we get into tip number 2. Tips on filling out your profile. Make sure it's filled out 100%. LinkedIn does a great job of kind of prompting you and pushing you through to that sort of stuff and showing you what you need to do. You need to think of your profile as a potential client. So if I've got bookkeepers and accountants sitting on this webcast today, you need to think about what you do to help clients out. If you look after a specific marketplace, one of the things you can do is hone in on that marketplace. So what you can say, what you can kind of convey to people through your summary or through your experience or even in your tagline is, let's say, for example, you work in restaurants. You can say your bookkeeper, your restaurant bookkeeper that you need. I help restaurants with whatever your benefit is on that one, or benefits and stuff like that. Reach out to me, contact me here. Especially in your summary, put your email, phone number, and stuff like that. And think about it from a profile from a potential client looking at it, don't write it like a resume. Use specific keywords in your profile, so in your summary and your experience section. And keywords would be, let's if you're a bookkeeper from Edmonton, you could put Edmonton bookkeeper or an Edmonton accountant or whatever it is, and that'll help you get found as well. Look at your profile on a mobile phone and make sure that it makes sense, and make the appropriate changes that you have to make it work for you, because like 70% plus people are accessing LinkedIn via a mobile device nowadays. And last but not least, give multiple ways for people to reach out and contact you: phone number, email address, website, whatever it is. So we're on to tip number 2. So I'm going to talk about what I call the digital referral. Now, I have a process that I teach people on this, and it takes almost a day to go through it with people. I'm condensing it down very quickly here, just for people to take a look at. So what I'm going to talk about here, especially with the digital referral, and before I get into it, is I leverage this process to get into one of the big 4 advisory firms. And what has happened is, this is a huge opportunity for our accounts payable software company to get put in front of 50,000 small and medium-sized businesses. And this literally was the process that I use. So I'll talk about it in a couple of minutes, but I'll go through the process first, and then I'll kind of walk back through what I did to get there. So literally, it's not who you know, it's who you know and who they are connected to. Referrals are one of the easiest ways to generate business, yet very few people actually have a process in place. Now, and I don't go into the slides here. Sometimes, in the future, you'll probably see this if you come to any of our other webcasts here in the future. One of the things is 11% of salespeople or business owners have a formalized referral process, yet it's responsible for 65% of all sales that happen. And if you start looking at the numbers against this, it's literally people who have a referral process in place are generating 15 times more qualified sales leads that typically close at double the rate in a quarter of the time, compared to people that do not have a formalized referral process. The other thing too is it generates 94% more qualified sales leads compared to people that do not have a formalized referral process. So just keep note of that while I go through this, and I'll explain it to you. So as I say, it's who you know and who they know that can help you out. So for example, in this case, I was looking up vice presidents of sales or VPs of sales in my first level network. And my first level network, kind of look over here, I ended up with 16 results. So I know 16 people in Calgary that have got a VP sales or a vice president sales role. Now, when I put that second level in, so the second level are people that connected to people I'm connected to but aren't connected to me, that increases from 16 to 294. That's an 18 times increase just in this case. So for example, I am increasing my potential amount of prospects by 18-fold. Now, am I going to get in front of every single one of them? No. But I'll tell you what, if I can get in front of 16 out of the second level, then literally I'm doubling the amount of people that I could probably get in front of just by leveraging my second level connections. Now, here's the process in a nutshell of what you do. Let's say, for example, I want to go after Byron Blair here, who's the vice president of sales at Ethor. Now, what I do is when I'm on his LinkedIn profile, down below, you're going to see something that shows if you have any connections with them. So I'm a second level connection. I've got 27 mutual connections. When I click on this, it brings up all these different people that I'm connected to that are connected to him that I could leverage to make an introduction. Now, I'm going to put a caveat on this. If you are reaching out to people here, make sure that, here's the golden rule with this. If this person were to reach out to you to get an introduction, would you do it for them? And if you would do it for any of these people, then, I would say they would be good people that you could reach out to. But let's say, for example, Kevin Johnson here. I don't really know Kevin that well. We've been connected on LinkedIn for a while. I had a few email conversations with him, but I don't know Kevin well enough to make an introduction. I would not reach out to Kevin. Jen, on the other hand, let's say I know her pretty well. I would reach out to Jen and leverage a connection in there. So now here's what you do to make that connection is I send an email to that person. And I know it's rather small and you may not be able to see it all that well, but what you need to do is you need to send an email of someone. So I put this subject line, which is, can you help me out? Hello, the person's name. Hope you can help me out. Hope all is well. Hope you can help me out. I'm taking a new product or solution to different companies right now. Hoping that you can help me out by making an introduction to this person at this company. You could also put in there, I see you're connected to them on LinkedIn. The solution helps this company with whatever result. Do you know this person well enough to introduce me? If so, here's an intro you can use. Subject line, introduction to Chris Hamilton. Obviously, we replace your name in there. Hello, whoever it is. A friend of mine reached out to see if I could make the introduction. His name's Chris Hamilton. I've known him for a while. Chris helps companies reduce costs, increase revenues with his product or service. He tells me that he can typically increase revenues by whatever percent, reduce costs by whatever percent. He was hoping to get an introduction to you, and I wanted to check with you first before connecting the two of you. Do you mind if I connect the two of you? Regards, and then put the name in there. When you do this, and send it to people in an email, by the way, don't use the messaging service on LinkedIn because it's a horrific hot mess and people don't look at that stuff. Send it via email. And really what you've done is you have really dumbed it down for someone. You've done all the heavy lifting for them. Copy, paste, takes about 30 seconds, send an email, it's done, right? Once again, I'm going to go back to some of the stats here. 76% of B2B buyers prefer to work with recommendations. So that's one way you get around that. 11% of salespeople have a formalized referral process. It results in 65% of all sales that close at double the rate, spend more in about a quarter of the time as how long it takes to close. And typically doing this process, you could book 2 to 4 times more meetings with qualified buyers. And by applying all these factors together, literally you're leveraging about 120 times greater impact on sales than someone who does not have a formalized referral process. So huge opportunity for people to generate sales out of this thing. And let's see if I go into my statistics here. It's been a while since I've looked at this presentation. Whoops. Bear with me for a sec as I get the swirly circle here. There we go. My results. So typically when I reach out to individuals, I'm getting 40% of these people will introduce me. When I do that, I usually get about a 50% engagement on this 40%. So I get 20% overall. Now, I don't know many people that are cold calling nowadays, but if you're cold calling to generate business, then typically it has about a 0.3 to 2% success rate. Literally, if you apply these factors against this number, you're getting about a 10 time to 66 times greater success rate. So I'm going to go back to, once again, my most recent example. I got tons of examples on this, but my most recent example. I reached out to a buddy of mine who used to work at one of the big 4 accounting firms. And I asked him, I said, who at this accounting firm or advisory firm would look after this type of service? And he says, it's this person. I said, great. Can you make an introduction to this person? He said, gladly. So I made a little email that I would send off to him, and my buddy Jeff sent it off to this other guy, Jay. Next thing I know, I'm engaged in a conversation, and lo and behold, these guys are trying to find exactly what we have so that they can position it to upwards of 50,000 businesses in Canada. And then they're thinking about taking this down into the US as well, which would probably be anywhere from kind of 500,000 to 1 million businesses that they would position us in front of. So huge opportunities on something like that. And that's just one example. I got another one where, I reached out to a girl that I used to work with who also works at a huge accounting firm. And I said, who at this firm would be able to look after this? She said, this is the person. I said, would you make an introduction? Yes. She made that introduction, and guess what? Now we're sitting in front of someone. They have 30,000 bookkeeping clients. They do over 3 million tax returns a year for personals. And our system plays exactly into that. So those are just 2 opportunities that could be just huge revenue. And not to be glib, I'm just simply saying this process works. And I'll tell you what, here's the other thing. 99.9% of the people I'm connected to on LinkedIn do not use this process. They've never reached out to me. I've had 4 people in the last year reach out to me and ask me for an introduction. So that tells me that very few people actually do this. Huge opportunity for you. Okie doke, that's enough of that. Let's get on to tip number 3 here. Tip number 3 is premium account in-mails. So when someone has a premium account, if you take a look over here, there's that little button that shows that someone has a premium account. When they don't have a premium account, it doesn't show up here. So Peter, for example, has a premium account. When I click on this in-mail right here, what shows up is a new in-mail message. Now, 70 to 80% of the time, if someone has a premium account, you're going to be able to send them a free message. And how you tell is down here in the corner, it'll say free message. If it says in-mail credit or use an in-mail, then this won't work. But that's only about 20 to 30% of the time. So, 70 to 80% of the time, this will work. And what I do is it gives you the ability to send this person a message directly, even though you're not connected to them. Now, here's the cool thing with this is that normally that costs $11 to send an in-mail. You have to buy them, or if you get if you have a premium account, you're given 15 plus a month, depends on what's going on. But you pay for these. These ones are free. Anyone can use this. Now, when you reach out to these people, though, you have to reach out with something of value. So what I've done in the past, and I'll explain this to you, is I've leveraged a system called teachable.com, which allows me to record a course on my computer, create an online course about it, and I can charge a dollar value, but I can also put coupons on there. So in this case, I've created a LinkedIn social selling playbook for sales managers. I put a $299 US price on this, but I've also put a $299 off on this one with a coupon. And I would reach out to people like Peter and say, hey, Peter, came across your profile on LinkedIn. I've got a LinkedIn social selling playbook for sales managers that helps people understand social selling and this is just an example, by the way, on leveraging their team in social selling to be more successful. I've created this free course here. Normally it's a $299 value. Just seeing if this is something that might be of interest to you. If they sign up, then when they sign up, I get their name and email. And guess what? I know they're interested. So I can start engaging with this person on a consistent basis, and I would try to reach out and connect with them. So as I said, it's $10. They're actually $11, but they're $10. I don't do it as much anymore, but I have an assistant in the Philippines who works for me, and she used to send out 10 to 30 of these a day, which meant that I was getting $2,000 to $6,000 in kind of benefits each month just by doing this. So here's the tips. If you're going to do this, approach someone with something of value. Keep it short and make sure you track these contacts because you can continually reach out to these people. I wouldn't spam them per se, but every 90 days, every quarter or something like that, you can reach out to people. So if I was an accountant or a bookkeeper, I would approach them with something of value. Something of value could be, hey, a free assessment to understand if you're getting all the tax deductions that you need. Here's a list of 10 things that you need to know before you file for taxes, for your corporation, for your business, for yourself, whatever it is. Keep it short. And like I say, track those connections. Here's something that kind of takes the same concept and moves it into group in-mail. So in this case, if you're part of specific groups, you can reach out to people that are part of that group. So for example, I'm going to use Peter again as an example. He and I, when I go onto his profile, down below, I see that he and I are part of 2 mutual groups. So we're part of the oil and gas industry people and the young oil and gas professionals Calgary group. And what I do is when I go into my main page on LinkedIn, or most of my pages on LinkedIn, there's a little button that you'll see on the top bar that says work. When you click on that, it goes to groups. You can click on groups, and what happens is you can start going to here, type up the group that this person's in. There it is there. When I click on this, it brings up the profile for this. And when I click on members, it brings up a page where I can search members. Now, if I put Peter's name in here, he'll pop up. When I hover over his name or this bar here, a little envelope pops up here. And when I click on that, it allows me to send him a message for free on LinkedIn, but you only get 15 of these a month to reach out to people. So once again, you follow the same kind of rules that you had before. Create something of value to this person, reach out to them via a message, and you get 15 of these a month. And so, by the way, before I get into, there's another way to do this too. But one of the things I would do is I would track who you're sending these out to, and because you've sent them a message, if you follow up with this person, say 2 to 3 days later, and just simply, and by phone, by the way, phone them and say, hey, Peter, I sent you a message on LinkedIn the other day. I don't know if you got it or not. It's in regards to this, and it provides this kind of value, blah, blah, blah. Was hoping, did you get it? Yes, no. If not, I'll send it to you again. If yes, is this something of interest? Would you like to get together? You will see you can book tons of meetings by doing that sort of stuff. Here's another little tip that I threw in here. If you're part of groups, and you can join upwards of 50 groups on LinkedIn, I would highly recommend, think about your target demographic of what you're going after, join those groups, and you can start engaging with people. But here's one that I'm a member of, and I can't remember which one this is, but this Ericy, I guess is how you pronounce her name, Ericy Sachs. She had a question that said, hey, I'm using Peachtree Sage accounting program. Does anyone know of a class, preferably on Long Island? Well, if I was a teacher and I was on Long Island and I did this, one of the things I would do is I'd copy her name. I'd go into the group. I would hit members again, come down here, put it in, and then I'd send a message off to her and simply say, hey, by the way, I saw your note on the bookkeepers group about finding a person in Long Island who will teach Sage. We do that. Here's what we typically see with our clients. Can we jump on the phone and see if this is something that might be of interest to you? So that's a way that you can get business. One of the things, once again, think about your target demographic, join the groups, start looking at the questions that are asked and see if you can answer them. But the other thing too, reach out to these people and answer or talk to them directly. Here we are. We got the last tip that I'm going to put out. So one of the things with LinkedIn is when people connect, they never keep in contact. And LinkedIn makes it simple for you to reach out to people at least twice a year, if not more, and just have multiple touch points with these people. So how you do that is with birthdays, anniversaries, and new jobs. So when you go into LinkedIn, click on this notification tab. When you pull it up, it's going to list off, hey, here's all the people that have birthdays today. Here's all the people that are starting a new job. Here's all the people with work anniversaries. All you got to do is click here, click here, click here, whatever it is, and just say, hey, happy birthday. Hey, congratulations on the new job. Hey, congratulations on the work anniversary. But I've got a little tip that you can use. Like I said, it's a great way to stay in contact with connections at least 2 to 3 times a year, but add a personalized message. So for example, when someone is starting a new job, let's just say they're in a sales role or something like that. You can say something like, congratulations on the new job. Let me know who is an ideal client. Who an ideal client is and what you do, so I can keep my eyes open for you or make recommendations or whatever. If you personalize it up, then that's a great way for someone to take notice of you as well. So that's just one of those other tips. So we're coming down to the very end here. I got some marketing extras for you just in case you want to figure out how to market your business. So one of the ones we have is bookkeeping automation. If you go to our bookkeepingautomation.com site, go on to our vlog. I've tried to post weekly, although last month or so I've been too busy. I haven't had a chance to do it. I'm posting marketing tips for people to access on our website and use for their practice. So I think we're up to 26 or 27 right now. The other thing too is if you want all of them all in one spot, I've created this course on teachable.com. And if you go to this URL right here, so it's bit.ly BA_tips. The B and A have to be capitalized. The T has to be capitalized in order for this to work. If you go here, you can enroll in this course for free. I've taken every single tip that I've created and put it up there. And then on top of that, I've taken literally all the webinars. I've taken a bunch of courses. You literally got like 6 hours of marketing information sitting in here that I'm giving away for free. So I would highly recommend, if you want to go in, there is a great place to go. Last but not least, well, I got a couple other things. If you want a 30-day trial of our platform, if you're a business owner, you can go to entermyinvoice.com. If you're an accountant or a bookkeeper, go to bookkeepingautomation.com. We'll give you a 30-day trial. This is valued at, let's see, we're valued at, I think it's like $350 value. If you're a business owner, what you do is on these pages, you go free trial, click on it. It says select your thing. If you're a business owner, click business owner. If you're a bookkeeper or an accountant, click bookkeeper. We'll set you up with a 30-day trial valued at $350 to try our accounts payable software. So what we do, we take digital copies of invoices, receipts, bank statements, credit card statements. If they're in paper format, you can get them scanned, bring them in. If they're in PDF, you can bring them in. You can take pictures of them, bring them into our system. What we allow you to do is bulk code against multiple transactions. We let you auto remember. And long story short, what we do is we shrink that whole data entry process upwards to 90% less than what you're doing right now. So it's a way to become way more effective, way more efficient. Give it a 30-day trial, and we'll walk you through the process. Hey, you want to reach out to me? I'm Chris Hamilton. Once again, chris.hamilton@entermyinvoice.com. And you can reach me at 403-630-1243. And more than happy to talk to you and answer any questions you have. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn if we're not connected. Go to LinkedIn and search Chris Hamilton in Calgary, and I should float to the top, and you can just connect with me there. So there we go. Appreciate it. Glad everyone could make it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them in the let's see, if you're on the view page down below, there's a chat box. You can ask questions down there. By the way, if you want to see a replay of this, I'm going to keep it up for a couple of days on the same page, so you can go back and hit the button and there'll be a replay, but I'm only going to keep it up for a couple of days. And that way you'll be able to go back through and see what's going on with all this stuff. Apart from that, next one we have, I'll send a note out on it. Actually, I think I sent a note out on it. I think it's next Wednesday. I'm doing another broadcast. I believe it's also about using LinkedIn, but different ways to use LinkedIn to generate business. And there we go. So doesn't look like we have any questions. Appreciate everyone showing up today. Thank you very much. And if you want, like I say, if you want to see a replay of this, all you got to do is come back to this page after I end this broadcast, probably in about 3 or 4 minutes. It will be live for you to be able to watch again, and you can go from there. So thanks a ton for showing up. Have yourself a great day. Reach out to me if you want to figure out how to reduce your accounts payable costs upwards of 90%, become more effective with your bookkeeping or accounting practice, create new revenue streams, a whole bunch of different cool things. Thanks a ton. See ya. Have a good day.